Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the fourth masterclass for the Black Women in Cyber Initiative, offered by OHUB in partnership with Get Cities and the Links. I am extremely excited to introduce our masterclass featured guest speaker today, LaToya Staten. She is the director of impact at Fearless. And in the other master classes, we were able to talk about cybersecurity, incident response, cybersecurity as it relates to compliance. And so LaToya is actually going to talk more so about the application development side and how cyber helps to support that, talk a little bit about Agile and her incredible network of individuals in the cybersecurity space. And so with that, LaToya, if you could please give us an introduction. And again, as I said, I am so excited to talk with you.
Very well. Thank you, Michelle. LaToya Staten, remember that New York? Listen,
Sorry, it's the
okay,
New
it's all
Yorker in me.
right. It's the New Yorker in you. LaToya Staten, Director of Impact at Fearless. And, my role here at Fearless is really about equitable access to careers in tech. And so the workforce lens, the skills lens is what I share here. Also, prior to joining Fearless, I had the pleasure of being the VP of HR for a cybersecurity firm. So responsible for the exact hiring and building of teams in the space. And so thank you for having me as part of the masterclass today.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll jump right in. What I'd like to learn more from you is like your journey and the things that you'd like to share pertaining to your background related to cyber.
So I've always been a techie, right? One of those individuals who had a computer in her early years, was coding in DOS and a few other things. So very enthusiastic and interested about technology early on. And started in this field of human resources, workforce, economic development. And being in Maryland, cyber was one of those industries that was prominent in the work I was doing at the time. And when they said, who's going to learn cyber? It's spinning out of IT, it's growing. And I just raised my hand, right? Sometimes you got to show up and challenge yourself. And I raised my hand and said, I'll learn it. If it's being built, if it's being invested in, if it's being developed, if it's coming out of our government and all of those no such agencies and everything else, I want to learn. And the thing that I kept hearing over and over and over again is information security has been around forever. But now the demand for workforce and skilled individuals, whether it was coming from the private sector, from the military side of it was really needed to grow as an innovative industry. And so I became really engaged in cyber, supporting the innovation side, and then the companies who are growing, looking at what the workforce needs are across the board and what the various roles are.
And I'm glad you spoke to current workforce needs because we are in a very unique place right now where there's not enough individuals to fill the job opportunities. And so there leaves an opportunity for training and advancement, and then also being able to transition into new positions. And so with that, and the topic for today's masterclass is like, what are the skills that you need to win the job? What are some of your suggestions, particularly now with some skills or certifications or boot camps that would be helpful to break into, to get a job in cyber?
Right. So the first thing I want to say is cyber's broad.
Completely.
There is, whether you want to operate and maintain, so be very technical, oversee and govern, so that risk management side of it. If you're very analytical, we know the talks about data and big data, or if you want to, be protecting and defending networks, there's a space for everyone in cyber. And so it's really a matter of looking at your transferable skills inside of that. The other thing is that cyber or information security, let's just use a much more relatable term, is if you're looking at information security, it is across industries, right? So you have highly regulated areas such as telecommunications and the financial industries. You have the healthcare. Even think about our school systems and our everyday governments. And so all of the roles that it takes to maintain those large systems for any of those industries, there is this information security component of it. And so, really, you have to think about in my job today, if I'm an accountant, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
I protect the data within my work. And so I'm a very, very big fan of the NIST framework and
Mm-hmm.
even
Same.
using sites such as cyberseek.org, one of my favorite sites, is because it pretty much tells you if I'm an accountant, let's say I'm in risk management,
Mm-hmm.
I work for banking. It will completely lay out for you if you're in accounting, if you're in financial analysis, and you're familiar with Sarbanes Oxley and some of the trade things. Hey, why not add some additional hands-on in Linux? Why not
Sure.
take an information security class? Why not consider getting an ITIL certification or Security Plus so you can understand the systems so that you can become an IT auditor? Again,
Sure.
I like data, I like numbers. I'm in the financial industry. I'm going to translate that into an IT auditor, and I'm going to do it from a risk management, perspective. And so that is right from the framework, oversee and govern, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can translate my skills into that. And as a HR and workforce professional, it's my job to understand how to hire these individuals. So you take that same recruiting mindset, that workforce
Mm-hmm.
development, building teams. I need, security operations. So at first I need to understand what cybersecurity means as a leader so that I know how
Mm-hmm.
to hire for it, right? And so even
Exactly.
with that, really increasing just your knowledge set about what is information security and a baseline, and then how that comes into play with your everyday jobs and transfer those skills. Sometimes you're more risk management, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you're a bit more technical, or at least have knowledge of the technical and tactical pieces of the industry. You're not supposed to know everything, right?
This is true.
Is a team sport.
This
And
is true.
go ahead.
And no, no, I'm glad that with everything that you mentioned, because really and truly, depending on the industry, the sector, the business culture is different,
That's
right? And so once you just get that baseline training, baseline certification, then it helps you to navigate through. Okay, if I'm dealing with a private sector or a government entity or big tech, it's going to be different. And so another thing that I know that we talked about when we first met was individuals being intimidated by the term cyber or information security. And I think we both shared like the same stories from when we do mentorship on when individuals would ask about, well, how can I transfer into a position? I have this skill set in building websites, or I have this skill set from being an attorney, or I have this skill set in a math degree. And really being able to talk to them to say, if you take the appropriate courses, certs, identify what space, because as you mentioned, cyber information technology, and when we say information technology, the different realms of it will work in turn with the protective pieces of cybersecurity. Um, and so twofold, I'd like for you to talk maybe about some experiences with that, but then like if we could go into maybe like the agile Scrum background that you have, because I think that might be helpful for maybe some individuals that are in the app development space that's trying to finagle their career.
Yeah, so let's talk about hiring individuals, right? So the one thing that I love about IT is that, it's a game changer and equalizer because where yes, I will have to stress the importance of getting an education and all of those things, but hands-on, applied learning, going from theoretical to tactical and really working through it is really what makes a great cyber
Mm-hmm.
individual. I've hired individuals fresh out of high school who could hack with the best of them, who could break into systems with the best of them. And I've hired, people transitioning from military with, the master's degrees and with, maybe a certified ethical hacker certification. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about that applied knowledge and really understanding how to baseline and understand their interests. Working in a security operations center, looking for vulnerabilities and redundancies is not everybody's calling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
Technical writing, compliance reports, being able to articulate the vulnerabilities from a risk management perspective back to senior leadership also isn't everybody calling. So
Mm-hmm.
understanding where you fit those communication skills, those writing skills, whether or not you're analytical, whether or not you can look at a lot of data, if that interests you, if you're okay with sometimes working in environments where you're detached from your phone all day, right? Because that also
Mm-hmm.
that comes into um, really determining where your career is. Now, one of the things that occurred to me that we don't think about enough is
Mm-hmm.
um, technology sales, right? And
Mm.
selling cybersecurity services.
Yes,
And
please speak to that.
I don't see a lot of people in color, specifically women of color, Black women in cyber sales. And one of my mentors said, "Look, LaToya, if you want to invest in something and learn something and have residuals,
Yeah.
technology sales, helping companies with their go to market, you're a marketer, right? Helping companies and startups with their go to market strategies. This is how you present what you're selling. This is how you present your skills. That's where there's gold.
Yes.
That's where
I'm
you can take that marketing, communications, that, really developing strategy. You can bring
yes.
all those pieces in and not just helping a startup, but even the company you're at, being an entrepreneur as well
Yes.
and seeing opportunities for growth. We have
Yes.
to take advantage and control of our own careers and be 3 steps ahead of where we think our organization or the industry is going. And so it is a lot of, if you ask me how I got here and why
Mm-hmm.
I'm here today and how I stay relevant, is because I surround myself with a lot of people and I build a network. And with it, and so I didn't forget about the second piece of your question.
No, yeah.
I
Well, let me pause you right there because you dropped so many gems in just that last statement, and I really do want to reemphasize some of the major points that you made. And I thank you for mentioning the selling component of it. Because another mentor of mine had also mentioned a lot of times when we look at entrepreneurship, we look to see like, well, what can I do? How can I be on a stage? And a lot of times it's like, well, how do you sell so someone else can be on your stage and you're getting money
Mhm.
from the people who are on your stage, right? And so if you do have the ability to create marketing, to utilize your skill sets that you already do using your creativity and your innovation,
Mhm.
particularly to like maybe entrepreneurs or those that are going in the contracting realm and they want to be able to showcase what their portfolio of work is. There's an opportunity there too if you don't want to get too deep into information security or cyber. Another thing that you mentioned that I wanted to touch upon, and I know we spoke about this before, is if you don't have a passion towards cyber, and if you're truly just trying to chase money, you will get burnt out.
You'll get burned out. You won't be happy. And cyber is one of those where you have to be strategic about your decisions, right? And it is finding that passion and being okay with pivoting. I go back
Yes.
to, when I first became in IT, how I was coding, right? And I
Yes.
was going to engineering camps and I was taking laser classes and all those things. And I was like, this isn't my calling.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't stray away from the tech industry, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in tech. I still work with some great engineers, some great product and service designers, some great project managers, but that's not my calling and that's not my role. My role is
Mm-hmm.
to be cross-functional and to
Mm-hmm.
work with all of those individuals to build out our workforce, to make sure that, when Fearless is doing work for our government and commercial clients, we have the right team members that show up at the table. I can't
Mm-hmm.
do that unless I know what they're building, the importance and the impact of the projects that we're building, and to understand our company culture that makes us a great place, right? So I take it enough to have very wide knowledge, but really deep in the people and the development of people side of it. And that's how
Yes.
you build your teams. You want everybody to be well rounded, but also have that depth and subject matter expertise. A lot of mistake that people make when trying to get in cyber and thinking that they have to do it on their own.
Yeah.
No, and I'll talk about finding your tribe. Um, because there's a lot of groups that, as I was saying, raising my hand, I'll learn it. I want to work with the businesses. I'll help them figure out their talent needs. I had to join groups and show up in different spaces to increase my knowledge. I've taken a cybersecurity for leaders class because most of the work that I do is communicating with the leadership piece. So I want to pause right here because I see a question that came in before we move from cyber sales as it relates to
Sure.
entrepreneurship. So uh, if you look at a lot of the large and small, medium companies, and this is particularly came out during the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
Companies could not afford to even think about their network and securing their networking, and they were forced to be able to do sales online, communicate effectively online. I remember, I think Zoom had several security vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
There's opportunities for many entrepreneurs to come up and sell cyber consulting services to those small companies and organizations. What I've also learned is a lot of people who are tactical on the cyber side don't know how to market. They're not great communicators and they don't know how to sales. Well, you can help as a marketer develop those pieces. Now, for cyber sales as it relates to entrepreneurship, again, some of my mentors help companies with their go-to-market strategy. My one mentor, I have to really give credit for really just schooling me on cyber
Mm.
sales. He was number 70, employee number 75 at a cyber company
Okay.
where he introduced their sales in the federal market. So for every, and he knew how to work with the federal government. So you think contracting entrepreneurship. Every time he sold something to the government, which in all it's most likely that they will buy it year after year after year after year, he got commissions on the first sale and
Mhm.
residuals for every year thereafter. I also had another mentor who was big in sales for one of the large integration management providers in the government space. Same thing. His first commission check was 30%. Well, if the federal government is buying 100 million, his commission check is 30% of that for the first sale.
Mm.
So, and
Mm.
you think about the residuals when they renew. And so you're entrepreneurial and he has to sell, market, customer success, right? Making sure that the customers are being served. But he was not the cybersecurity developer, any of those pieces. He would have a technical solutions person on the call with him. So, Lakeisha, when you ask about sales as it relates to entrepreneurship, digital marketing, companies have blind spots, weaknesses, and they have gaps. As
Mhm.
an entrepreneur, you are servicing them by fulfilling a need that they have or closing a gap. That can be in the marketing, digital marketing. It can be in developing their capability statements, their sales documents, helping to write the scripts for their sales individuals. Or you can be a value added reseller yourself. And again, that residual income. And so, technology sales, cyber sales, being able to provide those services, especially for small to medium organization and even getting into government contracting,
Mhm.
is very lucrative. Hopefully I answered your question there.
I think you definitely covered every aspect of that. Great, great points there. So I know you wanted to pivot to either talking about your tribe, but I also wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what you do specifically at Fearless. I know we're
Yes,
touching upon it through the different examples, but an opportunity to speak to that as well.
yes. So Fearless is a digital transformation company headquartered in Baltimore, fast growing. And Fearless, unlike many of the companies I've worked with, they have software with a soul, right? That is our how we deliver things. And what that means is that we want to um, change lives and impact lives in the software that we develop and how we help governments engage with their end users. So if you think of things like login.gov, where you have a lot of people who are government contracting, doing business, really logging into that system, that's one of our big projects. But we also do things that are around the equity space and the accessibility space,
Mm-hmm.
such as projects with the National Museum of African American History and Culture, and helping them to digitize some of the exhibits there, from the slavery exhibit to the latest way out of a no way. So if you think about securing, you're developing that, you're bringing things online, and you're thinking about the security posture of the website, making sure that hackers can't take it over. If you think about the development and the project management that happens, because you're dealing with, it's still a part of the federal government, right? So you have to build that security right into it. But as a company overall, we really believe in making life easier for the end users. And so we're very intentional when we pick our projects, but we're also intentional about our impact work, which is the work that I lead. And that is no wrongdoing to Fearless when it comes for jobs, when it comes for creating generational wealth. We also have an incubator program. It's a 2-year program specifically for people of color and women who are interested in government contracting. So really walking you through how to grow your digital services company, marketing. We have cybersecurity companies in the government contracting space. And so we're purple, right? If you think of the story of the purple cow, most companies don't focus with intentionality around growing their communities, making an impact. That what that social responsibility is, around workforce and talent, where most people aim for 10% women and minorities, we aim for 50-50, and that's our target. And we will do that as we grow, and even look at how we integrate that into our project. So I lead all of the workforce pieces and making sure that we have that community impact and partnership pieces at Fearless. And we are scaling and growing like crazy. What I love about the company, we have a lot of Black women in leadership roles at Fearless. So if you're out there and you're interested in a role, check us out, fearless.tech-careers. Or even our Hutch program, which is our incubator program. So I lead all that work in the community, how we partner, how we build the ecosystem, which is how I first came into contact with OHUB. I was able to go through their Building Black Ecosystems course with OHUB that I absolutely love, where it was more about investing and growing and creating that generational wealth. But lots of opportunities, and you have to really, how I see the work that I do is that I'm showing, number one, up for myself because I'm passionate about the work that I do, and I'm showing up for others because I'm just providing knowledge and the resources that I know I'm sharing, right? So that others can be involved. And so when I got into cyber, it was getting involved in groups, finding my tribe in cyber. And there's a lot of groups that I just want to be a fly on the wall. I want to show up. I want to understand. And the one that I think is most impactful that I've seen make a lot of headway in terms of getting more women involved, getting tactical, increasing their skills, is Women of Cyber Jitsu. There's a mentorship program that they have. They are national, if not global, and how they connect them. A lot of women of color, a lot of Black women, even at the leadership level. The hands-on skills, they ask what you want to learn. They're red hat, blue hat, it's technical, it's tactical, it's risk management, it's every career in cyber that you would think about. That tribe really help individuals grow their skills. And the other one that I've really enjoyed, depending on where you are, is Bridges in Tech. They do like a Wednesday happy hour, right? Ask a mentor, here's a scrum master, here's a project manager. So you're hearing from other Black women in the role, and others in the role, actually say, here's what a day in the life is, here's how your skills transfer. So I don't have all the answers. I have all the questions, and I'm helping you all go where I go to find the information.
Right.
The information.
And so, as you guys can see, this is why I was extremely excited to have LaToya be a guest speaker, because it's extremely important to build your network.
Mhm.
extremely important. And I think a lot of times the perception is, oh, I have to figure things out on my own. LaToya has already introduced me to a number of individuals that are just so helpful in the space. And one of the things as an offering for this masterclass is that we do have a partnership with IBM
Mm.
Skills Build.
Yes.
We have opportunities to have an open office hour with experts like myself. And I also lean on the fellow experts that are talking here in the different master classes. But I think that and sorry, there are also training courses to help in order for you to navigate and understand how different realms of cybersecurity will work for your industry. But the biggest point I think that is important to note here is that it really does take a village in building out your relationships and not being intimidated by that. But yes, so Latoya, if you can continue,
Oh,
because
yeah,
your network is so expansive, and but I also think that that also helps with the work that you do.
yeah. So even groups like Blacks in Cyber Conference, if you think about where they were in 2019, right? We had maybe 40 people in the library in Greenbelt. And
Mhm.
now this organization, not only have they grown globally, but if you think of the tactical cyber protect and defend and the hacking, this Black organization has gone out to DEF CON in Vegas, which is the big cyber conference,
Wow!
and they have their own hacking village.
Wow!
Who does that except
Wow!
these two sisters? They're literally sisters. And at the time, I think they were under 30. Michaela Barnett, and I'm trying to think of her sister's name. But they just wanted to find their community and they were looking for mentors. And so, again, you have people from all walks of life who, you probably pass every day in the grocery store that makes up
Mhm.
this Blacks in Cyber community that's global.
Mhm.
Two
Mhm.
in 2019, it was maybe 40 people in a room. It's now global, and they're one of the most sought after and active groups out there with some great partnerships across the globe. So they're always looking for people to speak at their winter
Yeah.
conference. Their winter conference is coming up in Virginia. So that's another group. And then Cyversity is another one we talk
Yeah.
about, keep your skills building. They started out as International Consortium of Minority Cyber Professionals and have
Mhm.
switched over to Cyversity. And you're talking about these chief security officers from like Carnival Cruise Lines and the bank, Wells Fargo, and others who are all involved in these groups that just want to meet, mingle, and help each other grow. And so
Mhm.
I started becoming involved and engaged with a lot of those groups just to learn what they do, how they do it, what they're looking for, keep staying abreast with the latest and greatest innovation. I've even, done some work around autonomous vehicles in the car cybersecurity, right? We
Mhm.
love plugging our phone into our automobiles. We love tapping into those streaming radio and music services, but do we understand the vulnerabilities that come with us doing that, right? We don't think about it in that
This
way.
is true.
So imagine taking someone who loves cars, and women love cars too. We love our Teslas and all of our other vehicles, right? Well, that's just a big piece of software that needs to be
Mhm.
secure. So thinking about the vulnerabilities and how to protect those things. And I had a great female mentor in Dr. Anuja Sanalkar, who is in the automotive cybersecurity space. And she and I did some work together. And so I just I have a great network of people who I just, let's break bread, let's have coffee, right? It's
Yes.
asking questions, and it is just developing those formal and informal relationships with individuals and people who can connect you with others. And
Yeah.
that's my role in this space, and to be a part of the skills masterclass is I don't do it all, but I know people who do. I've hired people who male and females who can hack, who are risk management, who write the cyber threat reports that we give to the leadership team, who stands up and articulates, here's the vulnerabilities that we need to mitigate. Um, but we all learn and work from one another. So when you talk about the skills that you need, let's just start here. Show up for yourself. Decide
Yes.
what you're passionate about and find your tribe and learn and connect with other individuals who can help you grow in that space. And that's how I've built my network. And that is, what I recommend people to do. You have to sort of own what you want to do. Now, if you're chasing money, getting a bunch of certs, don't have any hands-on experience, you need to get the hands-on experience. You have to apply that theory, and do so by, if you go to church, protecting your church's information, or that nonprofit, or whatever you can do. And so show up for
That's
yourself first.
well said. And I just realized I was so excited to introduce you, LaToya. I didn't have an opportunity to let others know that. So I'm Michelle Hercules, and I actually have a business called Hercules Innovative Technology Solutions. And one of the reasons I was so excited to bring LaToya on is because we need to build this network. What LaToya mentioned is that there is a hunt. There is a hunt out for Black women in cyber in all spaces to improve representation. And so you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not connecting with different leaders and just creating a network to be able to vent to be able to learn different insights from, or to help one another out. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Laura Bacon, who is the president of the Third, who actually connected us. She's doing excellent work in Colombia, has a beautiful location off of the water there. And so she has an awesome network of women in cyber all over, just women entrepreneurs. And so, no, wonderful points.
And I just want to say, there's some women who I follow on LinkedIn that I think folks should really know about. And I don't even think that I told them I was going to call out their name, but I'm gonna do it anyway, right? So, one of the great, she's a resume writer, and she helps people take their transferable skills and help them understand that, is Katia Dean. She's very great. She's on LinkedIn. You can find her.
And here's the thing. Save the names, because what I think I might do is bring them on as masterclass.
Oh yeah, so
experts.
Katia. Gina King is another one who's very straightforward. She's with Ovation Point, and one of the mentors for the Bridges in Tech. Love Gina. She's a CISO, so she has her CISSP.
Oh, awesome! Yes.
PM. She teaches cyber. She's out of Michigan. Love Gina, and how she challenges what's in job descriptions and say, what are you really asking for? So I really love Gina. That Mary Galloway, who is the CEO of Women of Cyber Jitsu.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Came out of the Maryland area. She's out in Vegas right now. Absolutely wonderful, passionate about teaching individuals. And then it is Cyber Barbie, Michaela Barnett, who's founded that's her Twitter handle. So that's the Twitter handle, but it's Michaela Barnett, who is the founder of the Blacks in Cyber Conference. Great to just follow them on LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn, to become part of their tribe, and really just be in the know as to what's going on in the space. Very great information. Also love Tina Williams Karoma.
Yes, Tina is awesome. Yes,
Tina's wonderful. She teaches cybersecurity at UMBC in Maryland. She started out that she's an engineer. She's also a lawyer. So think of all the pieces. She has a service company in government contracting, and she has a product inside Deploy. So if you think of somebody that's well-rounded and just really a nice person, very knowledgeable, very well respected, Tina Williams Karoma is another one of my favorite people in the cyber space. And these are all people that I break bread. Let's have coffee, right? Let's meet in some way. Great. But you just have to try stuff. I had a former boss who got me into the cyber when I was with the State of Maryland Department of Commerce cyber team. And he was like, LaToya, go learn. I can't do any justice with you being in here and only thinking like a government employee or economic development. If you're going to learn this industry, you have to go head in. So at the time, what was KeyW, so I'm going way back, had Parrot Labs, and they had training cybersecurity for executives. And so I started by just learning fundamental cyber speak, cyber skills needed, knowledge, skills, abilities from an executive point of view. And then learning how to build it up from there, building teams, helping companies who were growing in Maryland build their teams. And so, again, I've always taken this, I'm gonna let y'all be the technical ones, and I'm gonna make sure everybody has what they need. And so, even being a Scrum Master,
Yes.
program manager,
Mm-hmm.
keeping the team together, keeping that backlog moving, keeping that growth happening, being strategic. That has always been the role. But I associate and I stand in the room and I'm at those hacking events, just learning with my cell phone, no Bluetooth, no anything, with the backup cell phone, because I got hacked twice at Black Hat and I
Oh
had to learn
boy.
DEF
Yeah,
CON,
don't bring a real, yeah.
and I had to learn the importance of having a backup phone, right? So I'm just in the room with great people, and I'm like, what you doing? What you working on? How do you learn? And there's a lot of free resources
This is true.
out there as well that will allow you, and just companies like Cybrary, which is out of College Park. They just recently inked another deal with Blacks in Cyber Conference, where you can do skill development and you can see
Mm-hmm.
your progression. And they have sandboxes that you can play in as you're learning to do some of the work. And so some of those things are free, right? They have so much of it that's free.
Well, and
Sands,
one of the things that we'll do as well, just so for those that are trying to take notes, what we're going to do too is send like a survey after, just noting all the information that LaToya is sharing, because I know there's probably a number of folks like, oh, I want to write this down at this
yeah.
point.
Even Sands has a women's institute
Yes.
that they do as well. So that's another great resource for individuals to participate through them. And some of the workforce development areas have the pivoting. If you're military out there, transitioning military,
Yes.
a lot of those skills are very much transferable. And so, just again, finding what you're passionate about, because cyber information security, it's broad, it's risk management, it's being very tactical
Very
as a
true.
SOC analyst, it's project and program management, it's financial auditing, it's all of those pieces. And it just depends on the industry that you're in. So think of health information systems and health information management. You have that perspective. And so, you have to really make it relevant to where you are today and where you want to pivot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. LaToya, I think you covered everything. One of an example that I wouldn't mind you going into a little bit more, because you talked about project management.
Mm-hmm.
Do you mind providing like a high level project management examples for those that like really and truly in any space of work, you have to put a project plan together in order to accomplish your end goal? High level, with the work that you've done, someone who's trying to break into the industry, but they're a little intimidated on how they can actually say this or showcase this in a resume.
Mm-hmm.
Walk them through maybe some of the things that they could take from a project management standpoint.
Yes. So from a project management perspective, anytime you really lead the creation of a system,
Yep.
development of a system, having to communicate and bring people together to make those decisions, you are managing that timeline and you are doing that within budget and scope. Even writing out what the scope of the project is going to be, which teams are affected by the potential
Mhm.
project, and pulling all of those pieces together. That is transferable into a cyber career on the program management style, leading those teams, leading those leading the daily scrum meetings, like the check-in meetings, right?
Yep.
Leading those ceremonies, like here's what we're working on in this 2-week sprint cycle. Those are
Yes.
all things, that you can translate into a resume and into towards a cyber career. A lot of times in the project management, specifically on the scrum, it's
Mm-hmm.
software development side. And so
Mm-hmm.
Fearless has a strong agile practice where we have not only program managers, but also scrum masters who lead the team and making sure that the backlog is being taken care of with the development team, also the design, the product or service design teams as well. So again, it's about pulling that team together, making sure you're moving to that goal, removing any blockers that anyone may be having in order to deliver the thing. So think about in your day how you've done those things.
Yep.
Transfer,
Transferable.
transferable.
Transferable. So I'll pause for a little bit to see if there's any questions. I don't think we see any in the comment section. And then LaToya, I know we covered a lot. If there's anything that you feel like we didn't cover as of yet that you'd like to cover.
So again, cyber is a subset of IT and technologies. It's securing the IT, the information. Lots of opportunities in tech overall. Even if a lot of the big companies are not hiring, there's always government, there's always small to medium sized companies in growth. Every industry across the board, whether it's retail, food, hospitality, financial industry, cyber IT shows up in all of those spaces. And it is
Yes.
about, finding your passion. You can't do it to chase money though. If you don't
Yeah.
have passion and purpose behind your work and you're chasing money, you won't find your happiness in that at all. And we can go round and round and round, but you have to enjoy the work that you do.
Very true. And I'm glad you mentioned, sorry, I cut you off, but
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
glad you mentioned looking at smaller companies as well, because I think a lot of times individuals who are not in the information security space or cyberspace, they want to go straight to big tech. And there's a sweet spot in, you talked about it earlier, like the mom and pop shops, starting at your church, doing little volunteer work here and there, looking for like subcontractor opportunities just to build your skill sets so you can put that on your portfolio of work. And then being very, very specific about the lane and really identifying what lane you prefer when you incorporate the different certs that you go after. And you could go after a cert and then say, you know what, I don't think this is for me. Let me try to go after this cert and maybe work at this organization to gain some experience. Mm-hmm. So, no, I thank you for sharing that as well.
Yeah, and just one thing with that, I've seen people have 5 certs, no experience. I put them on a just skills test. They can't pass, right? They're good at test taking, but not doing the job. And so one of the things that I always ask people to think about, right? Getting into it fast, respect, my mother always said, respect the process. You got to go through something, right?
Yeah.
And so my new way of saying that is that if you rush it, you'll ruin it.
It's true. It's true. You have to take baby steps.
You'll ruin it. It's baby steps. It's learning and growing, learning and growing, learning and growing, learning and growing, right? And getting additional responsibility along the way. Being able to share. You can't keep it to yourself. You have to also give to others and pour into others as others have poured into you. And that's how you grow in tech and cyber and just as a person overall. A lot of cliche statements, things that we've all heard before, but there's truth. There's truth. Truth, and truth's power, right? And so really looking at growing with your tribe and any of those groups. And, like I said, they're local, they're national, they're regional, lots of opportunities to engage. We can't do it alone.
I couldn't agree more because yes, the space is ever evolving. You will never, ever get to the front of that ball. And so I cannot thank you enough for being this guest, the Masterclass guest speaker for the 4th Masterclass. I think what you shared is going to be so helpful for those that are in the space already and those that are really trying to get a job in the space. Some things to know, we have an offering for open hours. So for those of you that are looking for more mentorship, hands-on meeting with myself, or if you're in a specific industry or skill set, I could bring in some different experts for you to talk to directly. There's an opportunity to do that through this effort. Also, we will be creating a cohort group for training via IBM Skills Build to really help you understand the different cybersecurity certifications and training programs that they have. So look out for marketing on that. And then again, I just want to thank you again, LaToya. I learned so much from you, and I'm truly inspired by the work that you've done and continue to do in this space. And so I thank you for your time.
And thank you for having me. And again, I've shared all the resources. So, hopefully, we'll share those with the audience as well.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.